5, 4, 3, 2. Realtors, you're in the right spot.
We're going to do this together.
Welcome to the Leading Edge Podcast.
These mentors showed me a map of success.
This is the place for real estate pros like you to get better at running your business, balancing your life, and having happy clients.
Do you know how powerful you are?
And now your host, Eric Thompson.
Well, hey there, everyone. It's your good friend, Eric Thompson. This is the Leading Edge Podcast. It's episode number 74. This one's going to be fun. It's going to be cool because we have a very fun, very cool person on with us. It's the one and only Kendyl Young. Kendyl, welcome to the show. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Eric.
Oh my gosh, it is our pleasure. I am so looking forward to this. I've been kind of giddy about this interview and be a blast.
Just don't build this up too much, dude. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll dial it back a little bit. Hey, everyone should know that Kendyl is a realtor extraordinaire out in Glendale, California. Kendyl, you own a company called Diggs Real Estate. Correct. You are also a coach. We have that in common, so that's fantastic. We're going to get into that topic. And also, you've been a realtor since 1986. My perception of you, Kendyl, is that you not only are you super active in our industry, but you really care. Like you give a crap. Is my perception of you, and I appreciate people like that. So do I have that right? Are you?
Yeah, I'm probably less of a salesperson and more of a crafts person.
Yes.
I see real estate as a way to, feed my insatiable curiosity. And because it's a never-ending exploration of how to make things better for the people. And the people, by the way, is not other freaking real estate agents or ginormous conglomerate brokerage owners. I mean, buyers and sellers.
Right.
Like let's talk about them like nobody does.
Right. Right. Like we're good at talking about us. Like we all have a lot of practice doing that, but how about we talk about them? And I love the refreshing reminder that, you know what, it's their money.
We do an incredibly important thing in our society, helping people through a huge transition in their life. It just continues to baffle my mind that we're almost 100% focused on lead generation. Hello, they're not leads, they're people.
Right.
So I'm sorry, I just get a little cranky.
That's all right. Cranky's all right. Like we'll keep it spicy around here. That's perfectly. That's a good segue into the first question I want to ask you. So from your perspective as someone, again, you're super active, very engaged, you really care. As an industry, what are we doing right? What are we not doing right? Like what maybe are we even getting wrong? Like from your perspective?
Well, I don't like going negative, and you shouldn't complain unless you have solutions, right?
Yes.
I think what we are doing right is not we so much as the most interesting trend that I see in our space is coming from outside of the industry, sort of, and that is the iBuyer trend. And I really think that this is a trend that at its idealistic heart is to make things easier for buyers and sellers, right? So that's like right. That's awesome. And we should lean into it. What we're doing wrong is the screaming memes that are like, oh my God, iBuyers is never going to come to my market. I live in Los Angeles. We are probably the last market for the nascent algorithm for iBuyers. But I think that as this gains momentum, this will come to every market. And there is opportunity there. There is huge opportunity there for the individual practitioners. But instead of talking about that, we're just running around going, oh my God, the sky is falling. And
right.
That doesn't serve anybody. Yeah.
Right. So it's like why resist the inevitable?
Mm-hmm.
Why not instead see it as an opportunity and figure out how to get on board and figure out how it may be better for our clients? Like, do you agree with that? Are you with me on that?
Absolutely. iBuyers potentially could bring, and there's lots of corollaries to iBuyers. The whole DOJ thing is around that idea of, okay, we should publish what we're compensating the buyer's agents for. Just, I don't know, I think, excuse me, I have so many thoughts colliding in my head right now.
Oh, that's all right, please, yeah.
But at its core, there are outside forces who are seriously questioning what our role is in the real estate transaction. This is a good thing. This is a very good thing, because when I started back in 1986, our role was literally to open the freaking door. We were the gateway to all information about homes for sale. We aren't anymore. But back in 1986, when I started, I don't think our role ever should have been primarily to open the door. Yeah. So now we're understanding that our role is to be the trusted guide, the trusted advisor, the person who helps you through a huge life transition in a very holistic way. And that's where our role always should have been. The quarterback that takes all of the various components that have to happen in order to make this huge life transition and make them happen in a way that is smooth and seamless and logical and predictable, rather than the chaotic reactive mess that most real estate agents engage in the real estate transaction.
Right. So agree. So specifically,
right there.
Right, Mike. Yeah, if you had a mic, you should drop it. So specifically around iBuyers, then, as you see it, what is the opportunity? Like, what's a better way to think about iBuyers if you're a realtor, instead of the resisting and running around the skies falling? Like, what's the better way to think about an iBuyer, and where's the opportunity?
You know, I don't know exactly where it's going to shake out. iBuyers represent change, and change gives you opportunity, right? So it may be that we move more into a professional consulting role rather than a sales role, right? It could be that we are the catalyst that helps them figure out how to leverage the opportunity of, okay, great, I can get this institutional iBuyer to buy my property so that I have the cash when, where, and how I want. Predictability, right? Then we might be able to say, okay, great. What are we going to do with this? How does this change the calculus of what you can do, how you can do it, and when you do it? I don't know yet, Eric. It's too nascent. Yeah.
Yes.
But
yes.
I am really confident that the real estate transaction is so complex, and I don't mean the real estate transaction of opening escrow and closing escrow. I mean, the real estate transaction is so complex because it touches just so many aspects of a family or a person, an entity, let's just call it entity, an entity's life. It's job, it's community, it's convenience, it's timing, it's financials, it's estate planning, it's tax plan. I mean, it's huge. And we need to recognize that that's what we do anyway. We just don't say it.
Right. So your point is, regardless if it's an iBuyer buying the property or another human being buying the property, none of that goes away. It's still complex.
Right.
It still touches all of those pieces of their life. None of that all at once like vanishes, which means that they need a pro. Like they need a trusted advisor, a real pro, to help them negotiate all of that, because it's on top of all that too, it's super emotional.
Well, iBuyers gives the chance of greater liquidity and greater velocity. People are going to need to figure out how to navigate that.
Yeah, got it. So what do you do when you come across a seller who says, yeah, well, we've also done some research on an iBuyer buying our property. Like, how do you handle? Do you even preempt it? So
yeah, well, like I said, in my area, it's not a factor.
Yeah, not yet, right. You said
we would be hard pressed to find a reasonable living situation under $1 million.
Yes.
And we're looking at increases in property value at an accelerated rate. This doesn't work for the current iBuyer algorithms. So right now it's all theoretical for me. So if any of you are in Arizona saying liar, liar, pants on fire, you don't know what the hell you're talking about, you're right. I don't. I sit in the background thinking all the time, what would it look like? Where would we go? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
imagine that if somebody came to me and said, look, because we do have a couple of people in my area that are offering to buy your property if it's not sold in 30 days. I don't know how realistic those offers are. I do know that it's worked in a few things, so they're not BS, but not common. But if somebody said that, I would probably just talk them through. It's like, okay, what does that offer you? Why does that work? What are you giving up? Is it worth it to you?
Yes.
And what will you gain?
Yes. Yeah. Great questions. I love those. Love those. Okay. So we've been talking a lot about iBuyers, but and any other aspect or other areas where you would give us advice? So us meaning the industry. Like if you could give the industry kind of a sit down little chat, a little, here's some advice from your perspective. Like what would you chat? What would you recommend, or what would you tell us to do?
Okay, well, this is a relatively new line of thinking in my head, because I walk at dawn and sometimes thoughts come in. So I'm still chewing on it. Yeah. This
fair
is
enough.
podcast a month from now, and you're like, oh my God, okay, well, she pivoted. I really think that we as an industry need to start talking about not what we do for houses. So I'm a luxury specialist. I specialize in this particular neighborhood, whatever, right? I think we should be talking about what we do for our people. How do we transform their lives? How do we help them transform their lives? How do we help them be the hero in this story? And I think that there is an opportunity in that line of marketing, in that line of storytelling, in that line of brand creation. What does your brand stand for? What will they expect to get if they decide to do business with you, or at least call you for a friendly chat? That line is that philosophy that it's not what I do to market your house. That's my job. That's cool. Like, I'm really good at that. So are a lot of people, right? It's what I do for you, how I help you as a human being solve your problems, overcome your fears, smooth the way, guide you, educate you, help you to make good decisions because I've laid out all your decisions and probable consequences. What do I do for my people? My job is selling houses. My purpose, my value is helping you.
Yes, yes, and yes. I love this, Kendall. And as you're talking, what's coming to mind are all the Facebook posts that I'm seeing recently. And people close to me have been guilty of this too. And it's, hey, this house got multiple offers in 6 days, and I was able to close this house or get it under contract in a few days. So it's all about the house. Like, it's all about the property. But that's
right. And this kind of thinking actually came from that, because I've been thinking recently about what to do with some recent sales, which have been pretty amazing. In terms of price and in terms of days and in terms of number of offers. And in my old life, I am not criticizing dudes. I have done so much marketing around days on marketed, price per square foot, percent over sales price. It's all over my old websites. Yeah. But I was thinking about it, and I was thinking, I am not responsible for the fact that it sold for $282,000 over the asking price, because I didn't even see that coming. Like, I did not predict it. I can't say that anything that I did led to that result. So what bullshit for me to market that. And I got to thinking, in this particular story, my value wasn't in, and she didn't even know what to do with that amount of money. In fact, she turned down the highest offer, which was $50,000 higher than the offer we actually took. And I thought, what I did in this particular situation, my value was in helping her to understand why she was feeling hinky about the top offer. and to lay it out for it. It's like, well, this is why you're having, alarm bells are going off. My role was in, well, actually my role was in helping her buy the house, and that I had nothing to do with. I didn't represent her in the sale, but the connections that I had down in Orange County, helped her to get an offer accepted that was contingent on the sale of the house I had listed. That was my value. Yeah.
Yes.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah, this makes so much sense. And the other thing I'm thinking about is that when we put all the emphasis on the multiple offers and the X amount of dollars over list price, what that does is that sets us up in the next conversation with the next seller, where that seller, they're just sitting there going, okay, how are you going to give me my multiple offers and my $282,000 over list price? And maybe the market has cooled off a little bit by then, and you're kind of getting painted into this corner, as opposed to they know that you're just all there about them because that's how you've positioned yourself.
Well, yes, but I'm going to take you
Yeah.
a couple of layers deeper, because that's who I am.
Please.
I think too much. What it really does is it sets us up to be a commodity.
Yeah, absolutely.
The consumer understands, even if they can't articulate it, they understand that a trained monkey could have sold it for $282,000 over the asking price. They understand that. So what they very fairly get to say is, well, yeah, but the next guy says that he can do it, and he's willing to do it for a total commission of 1.5%. Now we're in the race to the absolute bottom.
Right.
I don't know if your audience can handle my general vocabulary, but I just said a really bad word and bleeped it.
Oh, it's okay. It's all good. My audience is hard to offend, so it's
okay.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah. So bottom line, make your clients the hero, because they are.
Yes. And you are the trusted guide. Trust being the most important part of this.
Yes.
Trusted guide.
Okay. So we'll shift gears a little bit, Kendyl. So you're also a coach. You coach realtors, and me knowing you do it, I'm sure, in a very extraordinary way. What are you noticing from your coaching clients, and like in terms of their needs? Like what are they coming to you? What are the challenges they have or help that they need? And tell us about that. And then how are you helping them with those things?
So there's two things. There's two themes that I'm hearing. Number one is they just need help with business development. In some cases, it is just, I don't know how to develop business, which has been an interesting offshoot for me. But a lot of times it is defining the business they want to develop, and then a strategy on how to create more of it. Most of the people that I'm coaching are relatively established, and they need to get to the next level. Yeah, so it's moving up a price point. In one particular and rather interesting case, it was being given permission to not continue to play at a very high price point. And that was a really interesting situation. So really business development, business targeting, and along with that business development comes sustainability and accountability.
Yes.
Right. Because a lot of agents got to where they are on willpower and a sick work ethic. Me.
Yes. Yeah. Guilty. Yeah. Right in that club.
Guilty. Yep. Right. And if they have at least as many, at least half of my gray hairs, they're starting to go, okay, well, that was cool, but like, I need to have a life before I die.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That was cool, but I'm exhausted. I'm just
exactly.
Exhausted.
So which leads me to the second bucket that a lot of people are looking for, especially because this is my bailiwick, is systems and organization. Because again, most salespeople are successful salespeople because of charisma and energy and a mindset that is generally positive, and expects a great outcome, and so they get a great outcome. Yeah. But that personality, that kind of person generally sucks at systems and organizations. I'm like a genetic mutation. Like I'm totally a mutation. I like both. I'm a charismatic, fun human being who like is a has an OCD problem. So like system jam. And mostly it's a way of coping, but yeah.
So you bring some of that OCD to the super charismatic, somewhat unorganized person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've developed workflows that in my little world are like freaking famous because they're detailed, but they're not detailed from an engineer's point of view. They're detailed in this I know will make my client feel less fearful. They will not call me at 2 a.m. and I will get a referral and repeat business from them at the end because they didn't live their life in fear for 30 days.
Right. Which means actually less work for me, which means that they're getting a better version of me because I'm not totally fried. I love it.
Yeah, I get super cranky when my clients call me after 7. So I develop systems to prevent that from happening. And it does. Most people who call me after 7 are real estate agents. Makes me even crankier, but I can't control them. So like,
Yeah. Kendyl, my take is that for the productive realtor, for the high performing realtor, right now in this market, burnout causes or imposes the biggest risk to them because they're going so hard and they don't know how to stop. They don't know how to set boundaries. They're not organized, like you said. They're running from one deal to another. I mean, I can think of so many realtors who are just crushing it. They're having big outcomes, making a lot of money, blowing right past their goal, but they're like have the 1,000-yard stare. They're not having fun. And it's, do you see the same thing?
Yes. Well, a little less so from the people who gravitate towards me.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So, you attract the people that you're meant to coach. Right.
Totally.
But yeah, some real estate salespeople, actually not real estate, just salespeople in general, generally have a fight or flight, abundance and starvation mentality. Yeah. So and FOMO, big FOMO. The idea is that if deals are coming in, I better grab all I can because winter is coming. Winter is coming. And I've been saying winter is coming for like 5 years. I can't believe how long summer has lasted in our real estate industry. There's an entire generation of real estate agents out there. And if you're listening to me, sorry, not sorry, but you need to hear this. Winter is coming and you need to be prepared.
It always does.
It always does. I just don't know when, but winter is coming. So the 1,000-yard stare comes from the fact that, oh my gosh, I did 50 deals this year and I'm exhausted. And it looks like next year is going to be 75, but I've got to do it. And I don't want to hire anybody to help me because, oh my God, winter's coming. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pay for them. So I can't do that. It's a bad cycle.
Yeah, it's a nasty cycle.
Nasty.
Yes.
I don't want to give anything up. I've got one agent right now. She's awesome sauce. She's got 3 kids. Her business is exploding. And I actually gifted her some of my personal assistance time because my production is less and less. And she can't let go of control. And I'm going to have a coaching session with her and say, look, you need to let go of some of this stuff because my assistant does it for me. So I know she can do it. You need to let her do it for you. And she's like, yeah, she can't.
Yes. Yeah, I see that a lot too. You got to let go. You have to let go. Okay, Kendyl, let's finish with this one. So from your perspective, you have known and do know a lot of people in this industry. So you have like good perception and visibility around success, what it takes. And so what do you think it takes? Like ultimately, what does it take to be successful? And just, when I say successful, what I really mean is fulfilled. Like what does it take to have a really fulfilling business ultimately from your perspective?
Seriously, you want me to answer that question in 4 minutes?
And try 2. No, I'm whatever, however much time you need, Kendyl, go for it. The floor is yours.
That was a big ass question you just asked. I mean, the question you asked was very similar to what is the answer to life, the universe, and everything. The answer is 2.
Yeah, go.
Okay, I will give you a really simple answer that is just going to irritate the holy crap out of everybody that's listening to this podcast. Here's your answer.
I'm ready.
Mindset. That's it. I mean, it is the same as 42. If you don't have an abundance mindset, you won't have abundance. If you don't have a work-life balance mindset, you won't get it. Which, by the way, you do know that work-life balance is a complete and utter bullshit, right? Like it doesn't
Absolutely.
Like it doesn't happen, right? So it's like either you're working really hard and that's what happens, and then you break off and you play really hard. And if you're really lucky, you do enough of both that you get a middle if you aggregate it. But at any moment in your life, there is no thing as balance.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
Sorry.
Balance is Bullshit is one of my favorite books. So.
Oh, is there really a book about that?
There is. There really is. Yeah.
I should read it, but it's bullshit. I've been interviewed so much on that particular topic. It's probably in the top 3 topics on any stage, any interview, any podcast we've ever given. And it's bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah. What I find is that all the great moments in my life had nothing to do with balance. I was in extremes and during the great moments of my life.
I love asking coaching clients and clients in general, what were you doing when you felt most alive?
Yeah. Right. And they wouldn't talk about balance. Yeah.
Well,
it's so good.
When they were completely engaged in something.
Yeah. So mindset, that's such a good answer. I love that answer. And I don't think anyone's irritated by that based on what we talked about.
Well, it's irritating because what they're hoping for is some duplicatable magic, a tool that they could purchase for $29.95, or maybe it was 4 easy installments. But it's not. It's mindset. It is a lifetime question. It is a lifetime intention.
Yes. Yeah. A takeaway for me, and a great little nugget is if you want to have abundance, you need an abundant mindset. It starts right there. So Kendyl, so good. Anything else you want to leave us with? This has been just fantastic.
I appreciate that. When it comes to coaching, and I assume that most of your audience are people who are real estate coaches or want to be real estate coaches. Understand that people will gravitate to who you are. So don't try to be anything in particular. Attract the people who are attracted to you, and understand that the coaching you give is probably the coaching you yourself need. So stick with it.
Absolutely. Oh, it's so good. I love that. Kendyl, if anyone wants to reach out to you or learn more about you, has a referral in your area, wants to learn more about your coaching, what's a good way to connect with you?
So I have a website for my consulting. It's kendylyoung.com. So imaginative.
Spell Kendyl, just so everyone gets the spell right.
Kendyl, Kendyl, and Young is an always young, never old.com.
Beautiful. Okay, that's pretty simple.
Or at Kendyl Young Consulting on all the socials.
Fantastic. All right, kendylyoung.com. Kendyl, thank you so much. So many takeaways. I so appreciate your time and your energy that you brought. Thank you for everything you do for our industry. You raise the bar, you care so much, and that makes such a positive impact. And everyone, thank you so much for listening. So appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you on our next podcast. Until then, enjoy life on the leading edge. Take care. Bye.
Thanks, Eric.
Kendyl, that was so good.
Good.